Hey everybody, welcome back to One Seed, One World. So we've had some cold, snowy weather here this past week. Got snow on Monday and then again over this weekend. I don't know, we probably got a good 6 or 8 inches by the time it was all done. And we've also had some really cold nights, down to like 17 degrees, 12 degrees, that kind of thing. And it made me think of keeping your chickens warm. I see it come up a lot of times on whether or not you need to heat your coop, or how cold is it, or how cold of weather can chickens deal with. So let's talk about that for a second. I got the water's all dirty. At least it's not frozen this time, huh? You make such a mess of this water in here, though. Let's get you some fresh water. I think I just dumped that down in my boot some. That's kind of cold. Okay, so as a general rule, you don't need to heat your chicken's coop in the wintertime. While chickens do prefer temperatures probably between 65 and 75 degrees, maybe even up to 80, 85, that's kind of like their comfort zone. They can stand temperatures down to 0 degrees or even a few degrees below 0 Fahrenheit. You just want to make sure that they are in a draft-free place inside of a coop especially overnight. You want them not only locked up to keep them protected from predators, but also to keep them out of the wind, the rain, the snow. And you don't need to put a heater in there. Chickens, when they are first hatched, have a body temperature, baby chicks, of about 103.5 degrees. And they kind of maintain that temperature for about 3 weeks or so. And then as they get a little older, then the temperature actually rises to where, I hear you, Doug, where their body temperature runs between 105 and 107 degrees. So their body temperature is much warmer than ours and allows them to deal with cold weather. Plus, they, of course, have their feathers and everything that keeps them warm on top of that. So make sure that you have a structure for them, some sort of chicken coop, that is draft-free. It will need ventilation, probably some ventilation holes or a little vent or something, up near the roof, but nothing where drafty winds is going to be blowing through and making them cold. Sometimes it's hard to talk out here with Doug. Right there. He's a loudmouth. Okay, so other things that you can do that can help with the cold weather, besides keeping them in a draft-free area, is they can have the potential for frostbite on their combs and on their wattles. And that normally comes from when there is too much humidity. That's why you want the vents, because with their body heat and the chicken poop and stuff that might be in the coop, that's going to raise the temperature and can make it more humid in there when it's cold outside. But that can, if it's too cold in there, then they can get frostbite. So to help prevent that, you can put Vaseline on their combs and wattles. Just to, put a little layer on there if the temperatures are in a range where they could get frostbite and you're worried about it. That will help prevent that. Also, any of their perches they sit on, make sure they are wood or maybe some kind of rope wrap material or something like that. You don't want to have them on a metal perch, because that, metal is horrible for conducting the cold, and having their little feetsies wrapped around it is not good for them. So make sure that you do not have metal perches for them in the wintertime. Actually, probably any time. I don't know. I don't use metal perches. Mine are all wood. So don't worry about trying to heat your coop in the wintertime. A lot of people have worried about it too much put heat lamps and stuff in there, they get knocked over and coops catch on fire, and chickens then end up dying from a coop fire. And it's something that you don't need to even get into. You know, your chickens, as long as it's draft free and protected from, you know, the rain and wind, snow and all that, they'll be good. I'll show you mine here. This is a coop I bought several years ago. If I had to do it all over again, I would not buy a coop. I would actually just build it myself. I've built a second smaller one, but this was way too expensive. And so if you're a first time looking at getting chickens, look into building one yourself, because it's not that hard really, depending on how many options and special things you want on it. But one thing that is great with this chicken coop is that besides the inside part over here, they have this whole outside part that's still covered. So when it's rainy or snowy or, you know, that kind of thing, I can put their food and water bowls in there. They still have a place to stay dry and walk around in there, because my chickens do not like the snow at all. They will not come out until the snow melts off. So they'll all just hang out in there. That's like it even goes underneath. You maybe see down under there where it goes back underneath there. So they can walk around under there. So the whole thing is about 6 feet wide by 10 feet long. And that's enough room for my 8 chickens. One other thing talking about body temps is that, like you see Doug here, he's a bantam rooster along with little Annabelle's back there. She is also a bantam. The bantam chickens, their body temperature is even higher than your standard size chicken. Smaller chickens have higher body temperatures. So, you know, if you end up getting small chickens, you don't have to think like, oh, they're small, they're going to be worse off. No, they're probably even better off than the big chickens. But they can handle the cold themselves. One last thing here too is I use pine shaving litter, and you can see how deep I have it off the floor. This is kind of like a deep litter method. And basically you don't really clean the coop out over the winter. I mean, you'll scrape out some of the worst of the top layer of poops, but basically you'll just keep layering more of the pine shavings in there, and that will actually give them good insulation on the floor and help build up heat in there in the nighttime when they're all in there and it's closed up. One other final thing is that you can also help them out with their food, giving them some extra proteins and grains, things like chicken scratch, corn scratch. That helps raise their body temperature when it's really cold. And just, you know, additional treats, mealworms, scraps from the kitchen, any types of greens you can give them. Any of those kind of things will help them a lot. Last year when we had a lot of really cold weather where it was like down to, with wind chills like around -9, we actually cooked them hot breakfast that had things like oatmeal and greens, salad greens, some scrambled eggs sometimes, eggshells, stuff like that, and take it out there warm to them, and they love that. Fortunately this year we've only had 1 or 2 nights that were kind of cold, but the days, with the exception of yesterday where it was only 22, hasn't been so bad. And it's now supposed to warm up this week. By Friday it's supposed to be 55 degrees. So this is our last cold day and cold night. So, draft-free place, extra snacks, warm food. What else did I say? Was that everything? Oh, no metal purchase. And the deep litter method can all help giving your chickens a cozy place to stay when it's cold outside, but you don't have to worry about getting a heater or a heat lamp or anything like that that could be potentially dangerous and end up harming your chickens in the long run. So I hope your flocks are healthy and happy this winter. I just was taking them out some fresh water because sometimes when it gets really cold, the water will freeze over during the middle of the day. So I'll give them fresh water in the morning and then come out around noon if there's any ice on it, or if they've made it dirty like they did today, then I will empty it out and give them fresh water for the rest of the afternoon. So Anyway, thanks for hanging out with me again today. And whatever's going on in your neck of the woods, I hope it is warmer than here and that you are staying warm this winter. But thanks for hanging out with me, and we will see you again soon. Namaste.